Hello and welcome to Greeting Star. Today we're going to be making another Valentine's Day card, this one here that you see. And we're going to be doing some dry embossing and some heat embossing techniques. So stick around and watch how we do that. So you can see here are the supplies that we're going to need. This is a little stamp and die cut set that I got from Michael's. It's called Art C is the name of the company that makes it. And I think it's called Thinking of You. So it comes with some stamps and some die cuts. And then I'm going to use a piece of purple paper that you can see I've used this folder to do some dry embossing with. And this is an Griffin folder for the Cricut Cuttlebug. It's called Smitten. Anyway, I'm going to run that purple piece in that folder through my Cuttlebug, and then for the mat, I'm going to use a black piece of paper. So here you can see I'm laying down my A plate, and then I'll lay down my B plate, and I'm going to put, this is going to show you the cutting out of the little banner there, and so I'm putting that face down. Some people put it face up. I'm putting it face down so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to put, okay, so first there was an A plate, then a C plate, and then I'm going to put the B plate on top of that. And then I'm going to roll it through and I'm going to cut it. And this is the little tag that we're going to heat emboss the word love on. Now you're going to notice that I don't know if you can really see it or not, but I'm not going to go all the way through because I need this tag to be a little bit longer than it actually is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and reposition it. So I'm going to remove it, and you'll see that it didn't cut at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up a little bit. And then what I was supposed to do is turn the page around so I would only cut the top, but I forgot to do that. You're going to see here in a moment that what I do is I actually cut another one out of it. So then I have to start over again. But so this is the mistake I'm making here. I should have taken the piece of paper and rotated it around 180 degrees, and I didn't do that. So what's going to happen is I'm actually going to cut out another piece exactly the same size as the actual die instead of extending it. So I'm trying really hard to line it up on the sides so it's straight and I don't have like a wonky looking tag there, but again, you'll see that when I get it out here, it's not what I wanted, so I have to start over. And I could have edited that out, but I figured why not show you, because I mean we all make mistakes sometimes, and instead of letting it deter us, we just continue on. So I'm going to start over. So I'm going to have to cut out the first thing, and again I'm going to place it down, and I'm going to put, so that's an A plate and then a C plate, and then I'm going to put my B plate on top of it. And then once I roll it through, again I'm not going to roll it all the way to the top because I don't want to cut that top portion out. So then I'm going to roll it back out and watch me flip it around after I reposition it. So I'm going to reposition it so that it'll be longer. And then I'm going to flip the paper around and only cut the top portion. I don't want to go all the way to the bottom because I don't want to cut the bottom off again. So then you'll see, this time I did it correctly, and you'll be able to see that I have a longer tag now. There we go. So you can see it's much longer than the what the original tag was. And I think I do end up trimming off a little bit off the top. Now here is where I'm going to dry emboss this purple front panel. And what I'm doing is I'm positioning it inside the folder where I want it. So I saw 3 hearts on this panel that I wanted on my on the folder that I wanted on that purple front panel. So I positioned it so those 3 would come through, and this time, since I'm not cutting, I'm only embossing, I'm going to use an A plate and then 2 B plates. So I'm going to sandwich it between my B plates before I roll it through my Cuttlebug. So you can see the B plate that I just put down. Now I'm going to put another B plate on top of it and roll it through, and then I'll have a perfectly embossed front panel for my card. And this is really super easy to do if you have the equipment. It's a real quick and fast and easy card. It's lots of fun. So it's a great way to make Valentine's Day cards by using embossing folders and dry embossing. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little tag, the black one, and I'm going to position my letters on the tags where I want them. And I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers precision press stamping tool so I can align them perfectly and stamp it more than once if I want to. I'm going to be using Versamark ink, and it's a clear ink, and what'll happen is it doesn't dry very fast. I think it's a pigment base, and what we're going to do is once we stamp it, then we're going to get some embossing powder out, and unfortunately my phone stopped taping when I was doing this, so I don't have that actual video. But what I'm doing here is I'm going to take the longer tag. That's the one I wanted to use. I didn't like the short one. And I'm going to, I think I trimmed it up at the top a little bit. Okay, so here we go. There's the short one, and I decide just to trim it a little tiny bit. You'll see with the scissors here in a moment that I do trim it a little bit. I didn't want it to be quite that long. Or actually, maybe this is a third one that I did, a third tag, and I wanted it to match up perfectly with the one I had done before. I think that's what it is. Okay, so I've got it positioned in my stamp positioner, and now I'm going to get my letters out that you can see there to the left. I've got the LOVE. I'm going to place those on the black tag just where I want them. And once I'm done with that, I will close the lid so they will adhere to the lid, and then I can ink them up with my Versamark. And again, I apologize. Somehow my phone stopped taping, so you don't get to see the stamping of the embossing ink. It's just a Versamark pad by Sunico, and you can pick it up at any craft store or order it online. And then I'm going to use embossing powder and a heat gun. So once I have the ink on the black tag, I'll pour embossing powder over it, and then shake off any excess, and then use the heat gun to set it. And it's embossing as well because it leaves a raised edge, but it's it's called heat embossing because you're not doing it dry, you're doing it with powder and with a heat tool. So here's my heat tool, and I'm going to let it heat up for a few seconds, and I'm going to use my scissors to hold the tag down as I go over each letter. And the letter, I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but once the powder is heated, it sort of congeals and it gives like a raised effect. That's what embossing means, sort of a raised effect. There we go. And now that's going to be ready to be popped up on my front panel. There we go. But first I'm going to adhere my front panel to my mat, to my black mat. And the black mat in this case is the same size as the card. The card base is an A2 size card, which is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and so that's what the size of the black page is. And then the pink one is just 1/4 of a quarter shorter all the way around. And I run out of adhesive here, so I switch to a different one. I keep a bunch of those on hand because it's something you use so often. So I just keep a bunch of them on hand. And I get them at different varied places for different prices. I'm kind of frugal, so I try to buy things that are inexpensive. Or sometimes I get things as a gift from someone. So I always ask for those supplies that I use often. Okay, so now I'm going to use those famous square adhesive dots that are foam, so that way I can have some dimension on the card, and I'm going to pop up this little banner on the front of my card. And we will have a completed front greeting card. Pretty simple, I think. Not too difficult. There's lots of ways to emboss. You can also emboss if you have a stencil and a I can't remember what they're called, but they're a tool. It's a little instrument that has like a ball tip, a metal ball tip, and you can just trace around the stencil and then the raised edge will appear on your paper. It's pretty neat. If you do that though, people usually have a light table so they can actually see. So there we go. There's our finished card. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you'll visit me at my blog, greetingstar.org. And also take a look at my ebook that I've written. It's on amazon.com/author/greetingstar. It is called Illustrated Card Making for Beginners. Thank you very much.